Hi guys, in today's update, I'll be talking about Bitcoin, BlackRock being very bullish over Bitcoin, and at the same time, some real world asset related cryptos that you guys should be watching out. Now, the first news that I really wanted to cover in a very short, quick notice would be this one, and this is that BlackRock to start a new real world asset tokenization fund on the Ethereum network. Why are they exactly doing this? And the reason behind this is that they saw a huge inflow and this whole ecosystem increasing from 100 million to 800 million. So they have increased their interest towards this first. And at the same time, they've said the management giant also made strategic investment in tokenization company Securitize. So let's see. You guys can simply hop on to this site and read about all of this more. But in a nutshell, all of you guys need to understand one thing very clearly, that not only Bitcoin but BlackRock is more bullish and diversifying their funds into different crypto spaces as well. Now, hopping on to the second news, and this is all about BlackRock seeing a very huge surge in their Bitcoin ETFs, and now they've started to realize that Bitcoin has more value than what they were foreseeing. So here they say that Larry Fink is very bullish over Bitcoin and hails IBIT, that happens to be the ticker name for their BlackRock ETF, the fastest growing ETF ever that they've witnessed. So if you look at the exchange's balance, so if I show you who is exactly holding the biggest amount of Bitcoin ETFs, you guys will be able to see that as of now, Grayscale happens to be the biggest one with a value of over 24 billion, or somewhere around exactly to be $24 billion. But if you look at BlackRock, then the way they are started purchasing, or the way they've started purchasing Bitcoin ETFs, the size and at the same time the speed has been very impulsive, and probably in the upcoming 6 months you might see BlackRock and Fidelity overpassing Grayscale too. This can be a possibility. Now we'll talk about what can you expect out of Bitcoin and the other cryptos that I really wanted to talk about. So I'll be hopping on to the real world assets and Bitcoin's chart, and right in front of me I have the Bitcoin's chart. And what you guys to really need to see over here is we have the weekly candle right in front of us, and the previous all-time high for Bitcoin was right around 69,000, somewhere around 69,000 to $69,500. If we can close this candle above 70,000, or maybe above the previous all-time high, which happens to be this area, let me mark this out so that you guys can get a little bit clear over this. So this is the all-time high, okay? And if you see Bitcoin closing above this is going to be a very positive signal out of Bitcoin and in Bitcoin's price action as well. Maybe in the next Bitcoin's candle or the weekly candle, you might see Bitcoin piercing over, probably I can say, 60 $75,000 or probably $80,000 as well. But how will that happen? If you look at the 1 day chart, you guys will be able to see that fine, Bitcoin took out this liquidity zone and it had not rebalanced the whole move as well. So it came down here, has started consolidation, and yes, even if it's closing somewhere around this range, you might see. So there are some possible scenarios. So let's say that if we close above this, there are two possible scenarios, that we consolidate for a while and then move up, or we just simply start shooting up slowly, or if we do not close above this previous all-time high zone, that we might probably range from 60k to 70k, and this happens to be the biggest point of interest for me. Now what can you guys do if you are interested in accumulating Bitcoin from a spot perspective? Let's come down to that. See, from a spot perspective, if you are really interested in buying Bitcoin, I wouldn't suggest you guys to buy Bitcoin as of now. Let me tell you why. See, if you are planning to buy Bitcoin as of now at the current price, then you can think about accumulating 30 to 20% from the total accumulation money that you have. So let's say that you have 100k, you can accumulate 20% here, but 50 and the rest 30 should be done here. Even if Bitcoin does not go here, it's fine. That does not mean that you are going completely all in over here, because what if Bitcoin goes to 80k and post that makes a straight 2 3 waves move, and that brings Bitcoin down to $52,000 or $59,000? So yeah, 52 is this one and this one is 60,000. So you need to plan things accordingly, because even if we are trading, we have some probability, and that probability has 60% chances of working out, and the rest 40 has the odds against us. So you need to factor in that as well. So from an accumulation perspective, these two zones, that happens to be 60 to 58,000, and the other second one is 50,000 to 49,000. These two zones can act as a very good spot buy if you guys are looking to or planning to buy Bitcoin in spot. From a trading perspective, I wouldn't like to touch base much upon levels, but yes, if you see a candle closing above 70,000 or the last previous all time high, then you guys can come down or filter your chart from on by coming down to a shorter time frame, and you guys can clearly see that Bitcoin was ranging throughout the whole weekends in this range. If you see a breakout, the first level of supply can be $71,600. Once you see this getting taken out, you can enter longs. But before that, consult your financial advisor, do your own research. This is not a financial advice, and make and take your decisions accordingly. So, yes, from a spot accumulation perspective, like I said, 50,000 to $48,000 can act as a good zone, and the second one is going to be 59 to 60,000, or you can consider the range from 58 to 60,000. I only like talking about one scenario. So even if I'm proved out wrong, it's fine. I'm not someone who's gonna talk about two scenarios, that Bitcoin might go here as well and Bitcoin might go here as well. See, in my perspective, Bitcoin looks bullish to me. At least we can mitigate this high out first and then start dropping. That is my analysis, and if I get proved out wrong, I do not have any issues in that. It's fine. So that's my first take. Now talking about the real world assets crypto. What about these? See, you guys can clearly see that these four cryptos, out of these four cryptos, three has already given a very huge move today as well. And at the same time, what you guys can think about doing is, I have plotted two good zones that you guys can probably note down or watch out. Again, consult your financial advisor before making or taking any decisions, because you guys can probably refer to YouTubers like us or any other that you want to take a reference from, but your own research is very much needed. And at the same time, you guys need to forecast and research by understanding whether this project is good or not. In my perspective, this can be good technically, but fundamentally it's not good in my perspective. But in your perspective, that can be the complete opposite. So talking about spot accumulation zones, then the first accumulation zone that you guys can clearly see what I have drawn ranges from 84 cents to 87 or 88 cents. This can be a first accumulation zone where you guys can think about accumulating 30% of from the total money that you guys have. And this is the biggest range or the point of origination which you guys can clearly see. And you can, expect in my opinion, I expect centrifuge to come down here, and this can act as a very good zone where you guys can think about accumulating centrifuge. And the range you guys can clearly see ranges from 55 cents to 67 or 68 cents. You guys can think about accumulating it here in 2 3 parts, because this will help you better up your average price, and at the same time centrifuge or trading any or accumulating any of these cryptos just at one spot happens to be or gives you the biggest drawback, and that drawback is you guys accumulate it here, and the moment it starts falling, your portfolio gets whipsawed. So just to avoid that, start accumulating things in parts. This will help you better up your average price, and at the same time you will have cash left for uncertainties as well. So we've covered this first one. The second one is ohm or mantra. So you guys can clearly see that I've plotted this zone as well, and again this was the point of origination for ohm. Now, if you guys want to, buy, or if you guys are interested in buying Mantra DAO or Ohm, this can be the first zone where you guys can think about accumulating it. If this gets invalidated, I'll be reevaluating the charts and post it over my YouTube channel. You guys can let me know in the comments, and I'll be posting it more, the new updated levels. But I firmly believe that this might mitigate this zone, and the zone where I think where you should be placing your limit orders should be ranging from, again, 54 cents to 60 cents. Since this is the first accumulation zone that I personally could plot, I would really or humbly request you guys to make sure that you are not investing anything above 30% over here. Anything beyond that or above that is going to be risky for you guys only. Now hopping on to the third crypto, and that is Ondo. You guys can clearly see that it took my drawn off liquidity out, and now it is moving above. So I could not share this chart, but yes, now that it has started moving, it's fine. Let's talk about the zones. So this is the first zone of liquidity where I expect price to act as a magnet and come back here, and it did. Now if it starts moving up, I don't think it's going to come here anytime soon. It might just start moving. But if you get any opportunity over here, then mark these zones out. 82 cents. This can be a zone where you shouldn't be accumulating anything again more than 20 to 30% from your total accumulation money. And the second one is going to range from 70 cents to somewhere around 74 cents, and you guys can think about accumulating somewhere around 40 to 50%. Keep that rest 30% for these zones, and I'll be reevaluating again. Like I said, the last crypto is Pendle, and you guys can clearly see that this has shown a very big impulsive move with no retracements at all. So anything with no retracements at all for me is a complete no, and I do not look at those charts at all. But yes, if you guys see this coming back to this zone, and this happens to be the biggest point of interest for me, and it ranges from $3.4 to somewhere around $3.7, this is the zone where you guys should be putting your limit orders at. You guys can think about accumulating 50% here, because this is a very good magnet area, and this is going to be active, or this is going to act as a very good demand zone as well. So here are the zones that you guys can think about accumulating these cryptos at. And at the same time, Bitcoin is bullish in my perspective, and in my opinion, you guys should be consulting your financial advisor before making any monetary actions. And at the same time, make sure that you wait for the weekly candle closing first before you accumulate any other cryptos too. If you guys want me to do a better and a bigger technical analysis for any of the other cryptos that you guys hold, you guys can simply let me know over the comments, and I'll be curating a video accordingly. I'll see you guys in the next video. Trade safe and make sure that you are taking decisions practically and not emotionally.